You know how sometimes you hear words in completely different languages, and you just get this feeling, this hunch, that they're connected somehow? Well, today we're going to pull on one of those threads, a single one that links Korean and Japanese, and you won't believe the hidden tapestry it unravels. Let's dive in. Okay, it all kicks off with something super simple, the word for side. In Korean, you say yup. In Japanese, you say Yoko. Right off the bat, they sound different, they look different, but the meaning is identical. So what's the deal? Is this just a random fluke, or is it the first clue in a much, much bigger puzzle? So here they are, right next to each other. Yup and Yoko. Both mean side or horizontal. Now, on the surface, they seem totally unrelated. But stick with me here, because we're about to find out how these two words could actually spring from the very same ancient root. Now, to solve a mystery like this, we can't just go on a hunch. Nope, we need a rule book, kind of like a linguistic decoder ring. And luckily for us, linguists have found these incredible, predictable patterns that show us exactly how sounds can shift and morph over thousands of years. Our first tool in the kit is something called the 1436 data law, and the main idea here is that certain sounds are, well, surprisingly flexible. This law tells us that the P sound at the end of the Korean word yopi and the K sound in the Japanese yoko, they're not a roadblock. They're actually a clue. It means they can, and very often do, swap places over time. Next up, we have the Tachitziteto principle, and this one is super intuitive. Just imagine you're shouting to a friend across a big open field. Try saying the Korean word yup. Your lips close at the end, right? It's a quiet, contained sound. But if you really want to project it, you'd naturally open your mouth wider, making a bigger, louder sound, like kyo. This principle basically says yoko could just be the long-distance, outdoor version of yup. And our final rule is the ga phenomenon. Honestly, this one's all about being efficient. Or maybe a little lazy. Over centuries, languages love to find shortcuts. So a vowel sound that starts in the back of your mouth, like ah, often shifts forward to an E sound, just because it takes a tiny bit less effort. So a word like sai might naturally smooth out into say. Now remember that one, it is going to be absolutely key for our next big clue. Okay, so we have our rules, we have our decoder ring. Now let's see what happens when we apply them to something bigger. We're moving beyond just one pair of words and digging into the language of one of the oldest shared technologies in human history, the loom. Because if these languages are truly connected, the proof won't just be in everyday words. It'll be in the foundational terms that literally built our world. Any loom has two absolutely essential parts. You've got the warp. Those are the long, vertical threads that act as the backbone for the whole piece of fabric. And then you have the weft. That's the horizontal thread that weaves back and forth through the warp to create the cloth. These concepts are ancient, and as you're about to see, their names hold some powerful secrets. Let's start with the warp. In Korean, the word is nada. This comes from the verb nada, which means to be born or to emerge. So it's literally the thread that is born. Now look at Japanese. The word is tate, which is related to dadareruda, to reach or to arrive. Do you see it? Both languages are describing the warp not just as a static object, but as an action, the foundational thread that emerges at the beginning and reaches all the way to the end. Okay, so what about the weft? The Korean word is si. Now, linguists are pretty sure this is just a shortened version of the word sai, which means in between. Remember that ga phenomenon? This is it. So si is the in-between thread. Now, for Japanese, the word is nuki, and it's related to the verb nukida, which means to weave through. It's the same idea again, just from a slightly different angle. One is the thread in between, the other is the thread that weaves through. It's the same job. So the connections in sound and meaning are already pretty mind-blowing. But this is where it gets really good. What if we could find actual visual proof? What if these exact ideas were literally drawn out for us thousands of years ago? To find it, we have to travel back in time and look at the very first writing in East Asia. We are talking about Oracle bone script. This is the granddaddy of modern Chinese characters, which of course were also used throughout history in both Korea and Japan. And the amazing thing about these ancient characters is that they aren't just abstract symbols. They are little pictures of the world. All right, let's break down the character for warp, which is jing. It's made of two parts. On the left, you've got the little symbol for a bundle of silk thread. Makes sense. But look at the part on the right. That isn't just some random squiggle. It is a literal diagram of vertical threads stretched tight on a loom. The character is a blueprint of the thing it's describing, the fixed, straight, unchanging standard. And this idea was so fundamental, so powerful, that the meaning of the character itself expanded. It went from meaning the unchanging threads on a loom to meaning the unchanging principles that guide a whole society. The classic texts, the scriptures, the sutras. The physical warp became a perfect metaphor for a philosophical one. So what about the weft, way? This is amazing. Again, you see the symbol for thread on the left, but the component on the right? Get this. It's a picture of feet walking in opposite directions around a central point. It represents dynamic movement, crossing over, filling in a space. It's a perfect visual description of the shuttle flying back and forth, carrying the weft thread across the loom. It's incredible! So let's just step back and look at what we've found. We have words connected by clear sound laws. We have core, ancient technological terms that share these deep conceptual roots. And we have ancient characters that literally draw us a picture confirming these exact ideas. When you lay it all out, a truly grand pattern starts to emerge. You see, this was never just about making cloth. For our ancestors, the loom was a metaphor for the entire cosmos. The warp, that emerged or reaching thread that represented the fixed, straight, linear path of time. And the weft, the in-between or weaving through thread that represented filling space with action, with life, with events. The act of weaving was the act of creating the world. So let's just quickly recap this whole journey. We started with a simple hunch about the word side. We followed that thread through the rules of how sounds change, which led us right into the heart of ancient weaving technology. And then we found stunning visual proof in the oldest writing we have. Every single piece of evidence reinforces the others, painting this incredible picture of a deeply connected linguistic past. That connection between yup and yoko, between null and Tate, it isn't just a fun linguistic fact. It's a powerful reminder that our languages are like living museums. They carry the echoes of how our distant ancestors saw and understood the entire universe. And it really makes you wonder, right? If these fundamental, foundational words are so deeply connected, what other secrets are still out there, hidden in plain sight, just woven into the very fabric of the words we use every single day?